Hey everybody, you're listening to Sunny, the original diva of the WWE on InYourHeadOnline.com. This is the place to come for the real deal about wrestling, so make sure you visit us. Hey guys, what's up?
Much. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting here in my living room watching the Mets kick some Florida Marlins ass, and I'm having a good time right now.
Excellent. I know someone in our chat room was upset. I think their team's losing. I think they were,
What's that?
I know someone in our chat room right now, they're upset because I think the Phillies are losing.
Screw the Phillies. I'm a diehard Mets fan, that's it. I don't care about anybody else.
All right. Let everybody know right off the bat, you're going to be at Legends of the Ring 4, which is Saturday, April 28th, 9 a.m.
Yep.
And I guess it's Carteret, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And
Actually, I think it starts at 8:30.
8:30. Okay.
Yes, 8:30 a.m. Nice early start for everybody.
Definitely. And tickets and everything, you visit 3countpromotions.com.
Mm-hmm.
We actually got a caller here. Right, we've been having calls all night before you even came on.
All right.
Who is this?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tammy, and like my
Hey,
girlfriend.
what's your name?
My name is Chris. My girlfriend's like a real big fan of yours.
Oh, really?
All right, you got a question?
Yeah.
You're on air with it?
Hey, it's what did you do? Oh, Tammy? Sonny?
Yeah?
Missy.
I knew it.
I didn't know Eric was doing that to me.
As soon as I heard
this
your
is a joke on me.
you said one word, and I'm like, oh, God, it's Missy.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
How's school?
Awesome. I had a 4.0 this semester, and I'm on the dean's list.
Dude, you rule. Come over and do some of my classes. I can do better.
Yeah, if everybody in the wrestling world doesn't already know, I'm a brainiac, so I'm right now.
Yeah, you are.
What are you going to school for?
Right now I'm in a medical technology program. I graduate in September, and then I'm going to UMDNJ for a physician's assistant program. Basically, a physician's assistant practices medicine under a supervising MD. You just don't have the MD, and you don't have to worry about malpractice. But you do everything a doctor does. You can write prescriptions, you can suture, you can cast, you diagnose, you do everything.
Yes, well, they're playing golf, and they're on their cell phone.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly it. The doctors are out playing golf, and they're on their cell phone with me in their office telling me, advising me on what to do.
Please don't be doing any heart surgery, though. Unless mine breaks, and you can put it back together again.
There you go.
Are you still going to school, Missy?
Yeah, I'm still in school. I'm trying to be the oldest living student there is, and just try to get as many degrees as I can, because there's a contest going. So that's what I'm doing.
All right.
But anyway, Tammy, I'll see you. Like when am I going to see her? We have an autograph thing.
Oh, I gotta buy the paper first.
Oh, I don't know, Tammy, but good luck. Yeah, good luck, and God, what was I going to say? Just and my phone is broke. I don't know when I'm getting another one. But
hey,
I think you have my home.
Miss, we're on the radio.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying bye.
Okay, just so you know.
I'm sorry to interrupt your interview. I apologize.
That's
I don't
okay.
know.
You're more than welcome.
Sorry about that. Have fun, Tammy. And bye. Sorry, you guys.
Missy, go give your boyfriend a blowjob.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
If everyone in the chat room wasn't typing unaided right now, I believe they are now. We got another caller. Who is this?
Alrighty.
Hey, it's Jason.
Oh, Jason.
Hey, Jason, what's up?
Not much. Actually, I met you a couple of years ago at Williams Valley High School, and you were working a show for Joe and Gino.
Oh, Jesus. What high school?
Williams Valley in Williamstown, Pennsylvania.
How you doing tonight, Jason?
I'm doing good. I have two questions, if that's okay with you.
Sure, go ahead.
My first question is, what was it like when you were working in Smoky Mountain during its peak era?
Oh God, Smoky Mountain was awesome. I didn't move to Tennessee to work for Smoky Mountain. See, I went there. I transferred to University of Tennessee in Knoxville because Chris was getting a job with Smoky Mountain. And I was just going to school, as a pre-med student, and I was there for a couple months when Jim Cornette came to me with an idea. And I was like, I'm not interested in being in the wrestling business at all. I'm a pre-med student. I was going to be an orthopedic surgeon. And I was like, that's really not my thing. He's like, well, just, do it for 6 months, make a couple of bucks, and, then you can get out of it, no big deal. I'm like, all right, what the hell? I'm going to school down here. I could use a couple extra spending dollars, so I figured I'd do it. And then it just took off, and Cornette loved what I did, and it was awesome. I mean, I was involved in every storyline practically. You turn on a Smoky Mountain, television show, and 45 minutes of a 1-hour show was me. So it was great. That was the time when Smoky Mountain was at its peak too, which was awesome. And I'm glad I had something to do with it. But I miss it. I loved it there. You pay your dues, but that's where you learn. You learn when you pay your dues. It was just incredible.
Do you think a promotion like Smoky Mountain Wrestling prepares you more for WWE than OVW?
I don't know. I've never been to OVW,
right.
So I can't really tell you. But I think OVW is good in that sense because they're actually training you for what they want to do. For what I learned in Smoky Mountain, none of it. I used none of it in WWE at all. When they hired me, they put me on the live event news. I was a straight broadcaster, and I didn't do any of that in Smoky Mountain. I was just a heel manager. So, the Smoky Mountain did not segue into WWF. It was a completely different thing. But, people who are picked up by Ohio, of course, yeah, they're going to bring you there, and they're going to, teach you what they will eventually want you to do, on the show. So, in a way, I think there are good things, with the territories of the old days, like Smoky Mountain, like USWA, this, that, and the other. But, you are more prepared if you do go to a developmental, I believe. That's my opinion.
Do you have another question, Jason?
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of talk of you going back to WWE, and I really hope so. What would you do to help show the current batch of divas that aren't wrestlers, but the divas who just kind of look like damsels in distress all the time? How would you help them maybe show them how to be a stronger female role model in the business than just being some random girl?
Oh, God. It's really hard. Because I watch the show once in a while. I really don't watch that much anymore. And every so often I catch, one of the girls on there. And first of all, there's way too many. Okay, it's not special. At least when I was there, you go through a 2-hour show, and when finally, I would come out or Marlena would come out, then you were like, wow, well, there's a girl. It was something cool, something special. Now there's a female involved in every single segment or match on the show. It's redundant. It's nothing special anymore. And these girls, they're beautiful girls, and I kind of put them in the same category as Sable, and I said this to her once, too. I said, you stand still very well. But as far as anything else goes, you suck. Sable couldn't talk. She couldn't do anything. She stood there and looked really good. That was it. As long as she kept her mouth shut and didn't move, great. But that's like the batch of girls they've got there now, with a few exceptions, of course. But as far as teaching them what to do, I don't know if you can teach them what to do. I'm very old school, and I probably always will be. And like I said, there are a few that do know what they're doing. Like, I give Trish Stratus all the credit in the world. There's a few girls there that I'm very good friends with that I've worked with over the years that I think are absolutely horrible. I'm not going to name names because they're my friends, But, hey, if they ever wanted me to, come in and teach these girls, I'd give 100% and, show them everything I can. But, who knows? Who knows if it's even, possible to, make them any better.
Thanks for calling me, Chris. Jason.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tammy.
Take care, Jason.
Yep.
I got another caller here. Who is this?
Chris calling.
Hello? You got a question for Tammy Sytch?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi, Tammy.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
Good, you. This is Chris calling. I used to work with you and Chris when you were working for Sparta.
Oh, Jesus. Mike Sparta. What a whack job. He was a wackadoo. He was out of his mind, that man.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that ever since I left, because I left before you guys did, and you guys were the biggest part of, me staying with that company as long as I did. And
thank you very much.
Just like a huge influence on things that
That's sweet, thanks.
Like, I talk about you and the things that we used to do to a bunch of my friends all the time. Like, I remember one time, like, after one of the shows, you and me, Chris, went to go see Goldmember, the Austin Powers movie.
Oh, yeah, okay.
and I don't know, it's, I ran into you a few times, not as much as I really want to. I'm actually going down New Jersey next weekend for that convention. just to see you.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I mean, every time, Chris and I would go anywhere, whether it was a Sparta show or, no matter who, we always like to help the young guys on the show. I mean, I would always sit there and watch matches and, try to give, my 2 cents and help people improve and tell them what I thought was good or what wasn't. I mean, I never said I was an expert, but, being around the business for, God, almost 18 years now, I know my shit. And, being with Chris, for almost 16 years, I mean, one of the best there ever was, he taught me a lot. So I kind of really knew what to look for, and, I'm just glad to help anybody I can. I really am.
I just called to basically say thank you for all those great times that, hanging out after shows. And, I remember, because when I was working with you guys, I used to pick you guys up at the airport when you didn't drive in.
Mm-hmm.
And, you used to rib me saying you thought I was older. And,
I rib everybody. It's not just you.
Oh, yeah.
See, I always...
the best things.
The thing about me and ribs, the people I would rib, sometimes I'd be a little bit harsh with my ribs, and people would take it to heart, and I would have to say, listen to me, if I rib you, it means I like you. If I don't like you, I don't talk to you. That's how I am. So if anybody's out there, thinking that I was a bitch because I was ribbing them, I was ribbing you because I liked you. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have talked to you. So, but I'm glad. I'm really glad, you appreciated us being up there. That's really cool of you.
All right, thanks for calling in.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah. Getting one more call here. Who is this?
Hi. Hello.
Hi, you're on with Tammy Sytch. Yep.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, hi. My name's Brian. I am just calling in. One, I wanted to say that I really thought the Bonnie Dada thing, I mean it as a compliment. I hated your character. I mean, as far as, I thought you were really good, I mean that as a compliment, if you know what I'm saying.
Right, of course. Yeah. Well, that was my job. We were heels at first, I had to be hated.
Yeah, I know you did a good job. But my main question for you is when you originally won the tag team titles right before WrestleMania, why wasn't that match on the pay-per-view? I realized that time constraints because they had an Iron Man match on that card, but
right.
I mean, they had other matches that probably didn't seem all that great. I mean, why couldn't they find room for a tag team title match?
Well, I mean, I honestly don't remember the exact reason now. I mean, I know they told us back then, but, I mean, the way I would look at it, if you think about it, right now, when somebody wins the tag team titles, it's pretty much a big deal. They, they always have some, top-of-the-line main eventers teaming up, and they become the tag champs. But back then, in, the early to mid-'90s, the tag team belts really didn't mean that much, but they weren't going to get rid of them because, they'd been there forever. So that's why they'd make up all these ridiculous teams like the Body Donnas, the Smoking Guns, the Godwins. It was almost like a filler match half the time, It was just something to put out there and keep the belts alive. But they really weren't, if you look at opponents too, they always had the champions against a team of Freddie Joe Floyd and Duke the Dumpster. It just meant nothing. You know what I mean? The tag belts back then weren't held to the level they are now. So if anything, that's probably the reason why it wasn't even on the pay-per-view, because they didn't really care about it. They didn't care about the tag team division. They really didn't put that much time and effort into it. And what they told me basically, because I even said to them, I said, can't you just put me with the singles? Let me do something like that. And they even told me, they said, well, we want to keep you with teams so you can bring them up a level. Because they were, all the teams were just kind of stagnant. And they basically told me, we want to keep you with teams to bring some interest to the tag team division, because it was just, people were farting on it. They didn't care about it. But, keeping with me with all these teams and turning on one team, going with another, and, whatsoever, that brought a little bit more interest than it had before I had gotten there. So as far as why it wasn't on the pay-per-view, I don't know. I don't remember the exact reason, but it probably had something to do with that. They really didn't care that much about it.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in.
No problem. Thank you.
What females did you watch to learn how to work as a manager of LA?
I didn't. I mean, when I was a kid, of course, I watched wrestling, and when I was little, and Miss Elizabeth was there. I mean, so of course I watched her, but same thing. Miss Elizabeth was a wonderful person. I loved her to death when I met her and got to work with her in WCW. But she was another one. She stood still very well. She couldn't speak. She couldn't act. She couldn't do anything. But she looked great. So it's not like I could watch her when I was 10 years old and learn from her. Because what's there to learn? How to put a dress on and do your hair? There's really not much. I learned from, believe it or not, Jim Cornette, Kevin Sullivan. Those were my teachers, and those were the people I watched. And in Smoky Mountain, Jim Cornette brought in Sherry Martell to work a weekend of shows with me to kind of, at least put me with a girl, because there were really no girls for me to work with there, except for, Dirty White Girl, and oh God, that's a whole other story. So Sherry, helped teach me a little bit, but that was just 3 shows. That was just a weekend. But my teachers were men. It was Kevin Sullivan teaching me psychology, Jim Cornette teaching me how to do an interview. Of course, Chris, taught me everything he knew. But as far as, being a girl in the business, I didn't have any girls to watch or to learn from. I just kind of did my own thing, and luckily it worked.
Let's let everybody know, Sherry Martell is also going to be at the Legends of the Ring 4.
Yes, she will.
Next weekend.
I can't wait to see her. She's awesome.
You got a question from the board, Incher?
Let's see. Extreme Falls, he actually asked a question. He wants to know what's the difference between WWE, WCW, and ECW's locker rooms.
What's the difference with them and what?
With all the major locker rooms like WWE, WCW.
Oh, the locker rooms. That's the part I didn't hear you.
And ECW.
Okay. ECW locker room was like a family. Everybody was friends. Everybody was a family. Of course, a couple people didn't like each other, but everybody, like, we'd go to Florida, and after the show, everybody would go out together. We'd go to, a strip club, or we'd go just to dinner or something like that. It was a big, like, a family thing. Like, we would go to Orlando all the time, and we'd all go to the sushi restaurant in Orlando. It was just, we all kind of did things as a group of friends and family. WWE was, well, there was so many cliques, and I was, called the clique chick, not just because I got along with the clique, because I was, sleeping with one of them. But, it was very cliquey, and, people stayed within their own little group of friends. That's how it was. WCW, nobody liked anybody. It was insane. I mean, of course you had Kevin Nash and his little, group of people, but as far as the rest of the locker room, everybody did their own thing. A lot of people just drove their own cars. See, in WWE, too, whoever was a group of friends, they'd all get in a rental car and drive together. WCW, you'd see about, 80 Lincoln Town cars pulling up with one person in each car, because nobody liked everybody. Nobody liked each other, so everybody rode by themselves and did their own thing. So it's kind of a strange situation. It really wasn't a happy locker room in WCW. It was pretty miserable, actually.
I think most people's probably seen the your shoot interview you talked about Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Has he said anything since that's come out? Has he been upset about it or anything?
I haven't talked to Shawn in years. I don't know.
Okay.
Haven't heard a thing, but why be upset about it? I didn't say anything bad.
Right.
We were together for almost 9 months. It was a long time, and it wasn't just like 2 people having sex on the road. It really wasn't. It was, we had a relationship, and we kept it under wraps as best we could. A few people found out. Vince knew, and Christ, I even went to Jamaica with him for a week. It was just, we had a good relationship, and so I didn't say anything bad about him on the shoot interview at all. So what's there to get mad about?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's married now. I was just wondering if it was.
Well, no, it's not. It's not like I went on the shoot interview and said, "Okay, I'm going to come after his wife so I can get him back." I don't want him back. I'm happily involved with my boyfriend. We've been together 1 year and 3 months. We've been living together 1 year and 2 months, and but everybody has a past, and he was in my past.
Mm-hmm.
So why not talk about it?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I get a question from the board, Incher?
Tony T. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Diva search?
Oh my God. Well, I was told by a very wise man recently to not say anything negative.
Oh, no.
But when it first started, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But I said to myself, all right, let's just see, what they do with it and what happens. Well, as soon as none of the girls knew who Kamala was,
right.
It kind of flipped out. I was like, you got to be kidding me. They're going to give some girl who has no idea even who Kamala is, this much money and a contract and let her do what so many girls have trained to do and want, thrive to do. And, I truly believe in my heart the girls that enter that contest, they don't want to be in the wrestling business. They don't have a love for it. They just want the quick buck and some TV exposure. And that's why, they don't last. But, I'm not a fan of it at all, but, what they want to do and how they want to market their women is, that's their prerogative. And I guess that's how they want to do it.
Do you think someone who grew up loving wrestling has a better chance of making it in wrestling?
You know what? I used to think that. I really did. I used to think that, somebody who was a die-hard wrestling fan, when they were little and then trained to do it, and, I used to think it'll eventually pay off, but you know what? It really doesn't. I mean, I know people who have given their blood, sweat, and tears for years and years and years, and honestly, they're never going to make it. They're never going to get that shot. And then you have these people who really don't care, i.e. Brock Lesnar, and they get a job and make all this money, and then they toss it in the trash. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of luck. Of course, it has a lot to do with genetics and, some extracurricular help, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And that's really it. It's luck. It's all being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people. Like back in the old days, back in the 70s and 80s, yeah, it used to mean a lot when you really put your heart in the business and you really loved it, because eventually it would pay off. It's not like that anymore. It really isn't. I know a lot of guys, I know a lot of independent wrestlers that have been on the indies in Jersey area for 10 years that are incredible, but they'll never get a shot.
Speaking of extracurricular, do you think the wellness program is something they're going to take seriously, and you think it's something they should do?
What do you mean?
It's the drug testing in WWE. Do you think it's something that they should do?
Well, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I think steroids have a place in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been one that was against it. I mean, a lot of people will probably do interviews saying, "Oh, it shouldn't happen." Da da da. I think it belongs. I mean, because if you think about it, it's a business of bodies. I mean, you have to look. I mean, they don't want people that are 150 pounds and skinny, looking like the kid that lives next door playing Nintendo all day. On TV, they want superhero-looking people. I mean, that you want to turn on the TV and see these people that you don't see every day, pushing a grocery cart in Pathmark or whatever. I mean, so I absolutely believe that steroids have a place in the wrestling business. I really think they do.
Just crush
and I think they'll always have a place. I really do.
Yeah, that's basically what Diamond Dallas Page said when we had him on.
Oh, absolutely. I do believe that, guys should not be smoking crystal meth and doing whatever else they do. Absolutely not. I mean, I don't believe that, any kind of drug like that has a part in wrestling, but as far as steroids, I don't consider steroids a drug. I really don't.
I just broke Arby's.
What? I'm very pro steroid use. That's all. I guess that's what I can say.
That's the message we have here for In Your Head, man. Another caller. Who is it?
Stay off the crystal meth, get on the roids.
Exactly. Say no to crystal meth, say yes to Anadrol. What's up?
Oh, hey, how you doing?
How you doing, Jay?
Who's talking?
This is Mac.
Here, one at a time.
Here. One at a time here.
All right, go ahead first.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
What's up? You get a question?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I know when Chris died, I know he's working with TNA and helping out the lower mid card, aka the Naturals. My question for you is, I know when he passed that there was a sticky financial situation, and I was just wondering if there's any heat with you in TNA or what the current situation with that is.
No, it's not as sticky a financial situation as some people think. I mean, it was basically, I had a lot of his bills to pay off that I would have liked to have used his last couple paychecks to do that, instead of having to pay his bills out of my own pocket. And they wouldn't forward me his pay.
Right.
That he worked for. And even the match that he broke his ankle and they wouldn't give that to me.
Right.
And, because Chris and I never, they sent a check to the house in Chris's name. But we were not on the same bank account. He wasn't on my bank account, and since we never got married, it's not like I could sign his check over to me. He would have to be there in person to put his paycheck into my bank account. So I called him up. I said, why don't you just cut a check in my name so at least I can deposit it and pay off, all his bills and things, so I don't have that burden. And they just said, no, we could only do that if you guys were ever legally married. I'm like, you guys are assholes, man. It was actually Terry Taylor I was talking to about it, and he was like, there's really nothing we can do because you weren't legally married. I'm like, you know what, eat the check then. I'm not going to, get a headache over this crap. It wasn't a lot of money, but it definitely would have helped me paying his bills. And, that was the end of it. But as far as bad feelings towards them, no. I mean, that's in the past. That's, a former part of my life. I've moved on, and I'm not going to dwell on the past. If I do, I'll be a miserable person.
I just wondering, did anyone get paid at all then for his work in TNA?
What do you mean?
If you didn't get the check, who did?
Well, see, that's what I wonder. Once he passed away, his parents kind of turned on me. They blamed me for not bringing him to the hospital soon enough. They said to me at the funeral that I could have prevented it if I brought him to the hospital sooner, which was bull, because the doctor even said he had a blood clot. Even if he was there a day earlier, it still would have happened. There was nothing you could have done. and because he was a very stubborn person. I even talked to him, and I was like, oh, come on, you're not breathing right, let me take you to the hospital. He was like, no. He was in the hospital long enough for the surgery. And, when he says no, he's not going to the hospital, he's not going to the hospital. So his parents kind of blamed everything on me, and I haven't spoken to them since the funeral. I broke ties with them completely because of how they were very, very cruel, very heartless towards me. And then all of a sudden I see his father makes an appearance at TNA, even though his father never, ever would go to any of his matches. I think in the 18 years Chris wrestled, he might have gone to 5 matches. And then all of a sudden he shows up on TNA television. I was like, you hypocrite, what an ass. So, if he got any money out of him, he might have, but I have no idea. No idea. And I really don't care.
Thanks for calling in.
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
This is Mark.
All right,
hey, Mark, what's up?
Hey, Tammy, I don't know if you remember, we actually used to talk to you a few years ago. I used to be in Mark 198.
Oh, my God, what's up?
Not much.
I used to talk to him online all the time.
Yeah, it's not calling way. I heard you were going to be on a week ago. I thought it'd be cool calling. Actually, I wanted to let you know, I'm actually going to be coming up with Jersey in a week and a half. I'm going to actually also be going to the convention, too. So.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Actually, I'm only going to come up with to see you, so just
let everybody know what...
well, listen, I just got to let you know, though, when you come over and say hi to me, don't get offended if I don't give you a hug hello, because my boyfriend's going to be standing right there. And he does not like me hugging guys that he doesn't know who they are. Plus he's a big mean cop, so I don't need any problems. So just don't get offended if I don't give you a hug.
Yeah. I'll probably be hiding away from him, like in the bushes or somewhere. I don't know, but.
Yeah, when you see the big bald guy that looks really mean with me, that's my boyfriend. So just don't piss him off.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that off. But anyway, I want to let you know that I still support you for all these years. I'm still a loyal fan. I probably sound really dorky right now, but I don't care. But
now, how many years have I been talking to you? It's been like,
I don't know if it's been that long, but I think I started talking to you back when you were in ECW.
No, it was before that, I think. Every time I did the WWF, like the chat rooms and stuff, you were there.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I think I remember.
Yeah, I know. It's been like at least 10 years. Oh my God.
Yeah, still kind of old enough. But anyway, I actually want to call and ask you a question real quick. I was wondering if you're actually going to have a new website soon.
Actually, yeah. The promoter that's actually promoting this convention, he's actually, I went to high school with him. Actually, I've known him forever, and he's got his nephew setting up a website for me. We're going to be like selling like some old merchandise, like some old bikinis and from photo shoots or lingerie for photo shoots or whatever. So you can get like a nice little piece of memorabilia, and it'll be a really nice site. You can keep updates on where I'm going to be next and what shows I'm doing and this, that, and the other. So it should be really good. The kid's really talented.
According to the amount of phone calls we have here, I think you're going to be doing pretty good on that.
I didn't hear you what?
I said, according to the amount of phone calls we've had tonight, I think you're going to do pretty well on your.
Well, because it wasn't even my idea. Because James, the promoter, he's like, don't you have like all your old like clothes and stuff? I'm like, you don't understand how many boxes and boxes. I had to keep everything in my mom's basement because she's got this huge basement. There's just boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff you wouldn't believe it. It's just taking up room. And I've never been the kind of person to get rid of stuff. I don't like to throw things out. I like to keep things, forever. And he's like, what are you going to do with this stuff? I'm like, I really don't know. I think they're just going to sit and grow mold in my mom's basement. He's like, well, why don't you sell some? Why don't you put it on a website and get rid of it? I was like, you know what? What the hell? They're just taking up room, and my mom can't stand it. So, we're gonna do it. So, you can contact therecamppromotions.com to find out about the website, eventually when it finally goes up. I don't even know what it's going to be called yet. But, of course, it'll be on thecamppromotions.com.
Okay. And we'll put up a link for it.
All right, cool.
That's pretty neat. I think that would be actually pretty awesome. I think it would be kind of cool actually to have a place where you interact with your fans again.
Right. I mean, if anybody's got like a foot fetish, you can buy a pair of shoes. Whatever.
I will make a note.
Hey, you don't understand. There used to be a website called Tammy'sFeet.com. It was a website devoted to my feet. Yeah. There's some freaks out there, guys. Believe me. I went to it, and it's just pictures of close-ups of my feet. It was ridiculous.
Awesome.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I think the caller here is kind of excited about that.
Well, Timmy, I just wanted to call and say hey. That's one of the calls.
We'll see you next Saturday then.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you. And sorry. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, anyway, I'll see you next Saturday, son.
Awesome.
Thanks for calling in.
Right.
Thanks for joining the message board too.
Yeah, no problem. See ya.
What do you think about fans on the internet? Do you think the internet's good or bad for wrestling?
It has its pros and cons. I think it's great because, of course it gets the word out there. You find out when you have local shows in your area. You can keep up on news if you don't watch the shows. Of course it's great in that way. And, with the publicity people can get and, you can get across from mainstream media. But I absolutely think it sucks because most of the stuff you read on the internet is bullshit. Mm-hmm. I've read on the internet, I'm a crack addict. I've never even seen crack in my life. I've never done any kind of a recreational drug in my life. Never smoked pot. Never did coke. I've never even seen the stuff. Anytime anybody was about to smoke pot around me, I would leave, like in UCW locker room. I would leave because the smell made me so sick to my stomach. So, of course, I used to get upset. I used to go on there, and this was a couple years ago, and I'd read, Tammy's a crack addict, and it used to upset me, because I was like, how can these people see this shit? But, now I don't even go online. Because it's worthless. Why bother reading stuff and getting upset over stuff that I know is not true? Mm-hmm. And I explained all this on that shoot interview I did, when I talked about Sean and stuff. I said, I was tired of reading bullshit, and most of the stuff, 90% of the stuff you've ever read about me on the internet is false. And it was really hard when I met my boyfriend. He really had no idea who I was, which was great. And then when he's a cop in Jersey, and when he went to work and told a bunch of his friends that are cops that he was going out with this girl, and she used to be in the WWF, and they said, well, what's her name? He said, well, she was Sunny. They were like, oh, my God, no. You're going out with Sunny? He's like, yeah, but he didn't care. It wasn't a big deal to him because he never really watched me. He never watched me at all. And then all of a sudden, a couple of months go by, and his friends are like, "Oh, did you read what it said about on the internet about her?" He comes home because we moved in together a month and a half after we knew each other. He'd come home fuming. You did a porno? I'm like, what? I never did a porno. There's rumors that I was in a porno, like actually having sex on a porno. I've never done that. I've never even taped myself having sex at home. Never. And, I took a lot of convincing, to prove to him I've never done this stuff, and you can't believe everything you read. And then he came home another week saying, they're saying you did heroin. I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go again. And I kind of told him, I said, hon, don't you understand, there's a lot of stuff you've heard already that's not true. I said, it's going to happen. You have to realize. I said, it's the same thing about, going out with, a Hollywood actress. More than half the stuff you read about, Lindsay Lohan probably isn't true. Probably a lot of it is. But, there's a lot of stuff that's not true, and you cannot believe everything you read. And I told him the Internet's like the National Enquirer of wrestling, and you cannot believe it. So, it took a while, and we've been together now a year and 3 months, and he's finally over all the rumors and the bullshit, and, he knows what's true, he knows what's not, and he finally doesn't let things get to him when he hears stuff. But it took a while, and it's not fair to me, it's not fair to other people who, are, bullshitted about on the net. So in that way, it really, really sucks. It sucks for your personal life. It really does.
Mm-hmm. You have a question from the board?
Gloggo. He actually wants to know what it was like working with the Road Warriors.
Oh, awesome. Absolutely awesome. Those guys are great. I still talk to Joe every so often. He was awesome. When Chris quit and went to ECW, I was still on the road, and I really didn't want to be traveling around by myself. I don't mind it, but of course you're safer when you're with someone. And Vince basically went to Joe and said, do you mind driving her around and making sure she's okay? And Joe's like, absolutely not, because we get along great, So, I would ride with Joe, and then Steve Blackman would ride with Mike. But of course, we would caravan and go to lunch together and do breakfast together and go to the gym together, stay at the same hotels. So it was like the four of us on the road together, but I was just always with Joe. And, that's how we developed such a great friendship, and that's why I still talk to him now. He's an awesome guy, and Mike was an awesome guy, and I miss him, and it was a shame what happened to him. But, it seems like it's happening a lot more often than it used to now, with everybody, passing away.
Did they have any problems originally with, being managed by a woman?
What?
Did they have any problems?
Yeah. No, not at all. No, they welcomed it. if you think about it too, when they came back there, they weren't that young, you know, and in order for, you know, them to be looked at as a young, like, a virile tag team, you know, Vince said, let's put Sunny with you, and it'll bring some youth and some life and, you know, the whole thing. And they were like, okay, great, you know, absolutely. And I thought it worked. I really did. I loved working with those guys. I really did. I had a good time.
Spec Son, do you have a question?
Yes. Hello, Tammy.
Hey, what's up?
Yes. I had a question. First, what are your thoughts about working with Daphne and Booker T's wife, Charmel, during your days in WCW during 2000?
It was fun. I mean, it was a lot of work because I had a lot more matches than, you know, I was used to anywhere else. But it was fun. Charmel was awesome. She really was. I mean, anything we wanted to do, she was up for. She was a real quick learner. I mean, because when I had to work with her, they had just taken her from the Nitro Girls. She wasn't trained in wrestling. She really had no idea. But she would get in there in the afternoon with us, and she would pay such close attention. And she's a natural athlete. She really is. So anything we tried to teach her, she learned and picked up right away. And she never said no to anything. I mean, we would, you know, explain how to take some kind of bump. She was like, okay, no problem. There was once, we even had an idea for me to give her a chair shot, and she was ready to take it. And, of course, the officer was like, no, we can't do that. But, I mean, she was even willing to do that. She was just awesome. I really had a good time with her. And Daphne is just a crazy bitch. I mean, she's a sweetheart. She's a real sweetheart, but she's just a nut in there, you know. I mean, I had fun with her, too. I really did, but I worked with Charmel a lot more. I really had a good time. She was a really nice girl, and I had a really good time with her. She was very eager to learn, gave me a lot of respect, and it was good. It was really good.
Thanks for calling, Spec Son.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, sorry for keeping you hold so long.
No problem. It was worth it.
Right.
Take care.
Another caller here. I believe it's a Flea.
Oh, you're right.
You got a question for Tammy Sytch?
I just want to say first, it's been a great show so far, and thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I was just wondering, what was your favorite place to work during what time?
My favorite company?
Yeah, just company or, you know, wherever.
I have to say WWF, well, WWE, whatever you want to say. It was awesome. It was probably the best time in my life because, I was on top of the world. You know, I was, you know, one of the main, you know, people there. I was making a really nice paycheck. I was flying first class everywhere when most of the guys were still in coach. I was under a different contract than all the guys. My first 2 years, well, my first year and a half, I guess, I was just under like a wrestler contract. I had to pay all my own expenses. I was flying coach, you know. And then I got my contract extension. I got a 5-year extension before my 3-year was even up. And in my contract, it stated that I was now a studio employee, so all my expenses were taken care of. My car was taken care of, my gas, my tolls on the road, my food, my hotel, everything. I didn't have to pay for a thing. My clothes were reimbursed. And I had first-class airfare everywhere I went. I mean, there was a good amount of time. Like when Steve Austin came to the company, he was flying in coach. I was in first class. I used to use my upgrade certificates to get him up to first class. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, I had to get upgraded by me. You know, that's how taken care of I was in the company. It was just really incredible. I mean, I used to upgrade Owen Hart, I used to upgrade Steve, and I would upgrade Chris. And I remember this one time because we were on U.S. Air, and I had already upgraded Chris. So they used to give you actual upgrade certificates, and you just bring the piece of paper to the desk and upgrade your companion. And Chris and I were already in first, and there were a couple of seats still left over, and there's Owen and Steve and a bunch of the other boys in the back. So I was like, Owen and Steve, I said, come on, I'll upgrade you too. Come off the plane. So we get off the plane, we go to the desk, and I said, I want to use these 2 certificates for them. They said, oh, you're only allowed 1 companion. And I'm like, all right, what can I do? I said, well, I looked the girl right in the eye. I said, well, ma'am, I'm sorry, but they're all my boyfriends. You can't make me choose just one. So basically, I convinced her that I had 3 boyfriends flying with me, and she upgraded them all. It was great.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, and now when I look back at it, and I even, tell my boyfriend, I'm like, yeah, there was a time that I had to upgrade Stone Cold Steve Austin because I was taken care of better than him. It was just incredible. Vince really took care of me, and I loved it. I mean, that was probably the best place I ever worked. And I love working for Vince. I mean, a lot of people don't like him. They say he's an asshole, whatever. I loved working for him. He was the best boss I ever had. He kind of treated me like a daughter, He really took care of me.
Do you ever think we'll see Sonny back in WWE?
You never know. I just talked to Howard Finkel 2 weeks ago. Not going to tell you about what, but I did. And, I talk to people every so often. I still talk to, Jim Ross every so often. Tom Pritchard's back there now. I talk to him all the time, of course, because we've known each other since I was 17. And, you never, ever know. I mean, if you come to the convention next Saturday, you're going to see that I'm just about in the same shape I was in WWE. I mean, I've been busting my ass in the gym. I've been dieting so hard. I'm back on track, everybody knows I gained weight, and nobody really knows the reason why I gained that weight. I had pancreatitis. It screwed up my whole system, and that makes you gain weight. And then, of course, when Chris died, the depression hit, and then, your whole body's shot. But, I've been so focused over the past, I guess, 6 months. I almost look like the old me. I'm very, very close. I'm not far off at all. And so when you come, to this convention on Saturday, you're going to be like, whoa, she looks like her again, which is great. But, so you never know. I mean, like I said, I talked to Howard a couple of weeks ago, and he's one of the biggest, voices in that office when it comes to Vince. And, you never know. Anything can happen.
That's 3countpromotions.com. There's some other WWE guys there. There's Steve Lombardi, Harvey Whippleman, Chris Jericho.
Yep.
Yes,
we got Virgil, Corporal Kirshner, the Mountie, Demolition, the Nasty Boys, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn, Road Dogg, Brian James now, Greg Valentine, Brooklyn Brawler, Big Bully Busick, Sherry Martel. It's going to be awesome. It really is. I love doing conventions. I love seeing everybody,
What's the strangest thing someone's asked you to, autograph?
The strangest? I actually went outside once and autographed a green Corvette.
Okay.
Awesome.
Somebody said, "Can you sign my car?" I was like, all right. Went outside. They had a brand new, a emerald green colored Corvette, and they wanted me to sign across the whole, hood. I was like, are you kidding me? You want me to ruin a $50,000 car? Like, no, we won't. You won't ruin it. This is what I want. I was like, okay. So I took a big fat Sharpie and signed the hood of this beautiful Corvette. And I kind of felt bad because I love Corvettes. I'm like, oh my God, this poor car. But hey, this is what the guy wanted,
Right.
And people have already walked up to me with pairs of underwear, women's underwear, asking me to sign it. I'm like, no. Absolutely not. First of all, I don't know whose underwear it is. Second of all, what are you going to do? Go on eBay and sell it and say it's mine?
Right.
And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm not going to do that. I've signed babies, infant babies. Yeah, and I'm like, what are you going to do? You're never going to wash your infant again, It just doesn't make sense. Some people are kooky, but, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. Try to make them happy.
Yeah, I think Incher was bidding on an autographed baby once on eBay.
Yes, that little rascal was mine.
Oh my God.
Somebody beat
Do we have another caller here? Because there's someone else here on the line. I'm not sure.
Let's take it.
If they're still listening, or I think it's I don't know what's going on there. You got a question from the message board, Incher?
TEQ. He actually asked about Shotgun Saturday Night. He said there was something like a sex tape segment on it or something.
With a green bear.
Yeah, and a pole dancer.
With what?
He was asking. I guess it was like a vignette on Shotgun Saturday Night with some type.
Yeah,
it was a sex tape with a green bear.
No, it was Elmo. It was sex with Elmo.
Oh.
No, because we teased the Sonny sex tape for a couple of weeks, and everybody's like, oh my God, we're going to see Sonny, having sex on tape. And what it was we put Todd Pettengill in a huge Elmo costume, because that was back when Tickle Me Elmo, the doll, had just come out and it was such a big thing. So we put Todd in a Tickle Me Elmo, suit, and I rolled around on the bed with him. I pulled a black thong off of the Elmo costume because it was over the costume. It was hysterical. So, yeah, we just rolled around, then the lights went out. You heard us moaning. Then the lights came back on. I had bedhead. I was under the sheets, and that was it. That was the sex tape that we teased. It was a comedy thing. That's all it was.
Elmo's a minute man, but he gets the job done.
Why didn't Livewire last longer?
I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea with the live interaction and taking all the questions, but eventually what they had to do, the first couple of shows, we actually took live questions from fans. We took email, we took, faxes, we took phone calls. And after a while, when they realized that all the questions and the people we were getting on the air were not that bright, the questions kind of blew, and it really wasn't going anywhere, that they basically had a bunch of producers in the next room calling in fake questions.
Really?
So, I mean, it was supposed to be a live interaction thing, and it started off like that, but because it wasn't working, they had to, have a bunch of, people, office employees in the next room calling in and faxing in, and everything was all made up, and I still didn't know what the questions were ahead of time. It was all, right there on the spot, but it was all, fabricated and written because it had to be to keep the show interesting. As far as why it didn't, last, I don't know. Maybe people just didn't take to it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, but...
Did you ever want to pursue commentary?
With commentary, like ringside commentary?
Yeah.
No, because that was not my strong point. Like every time I was, out there doing some guest commentary, sometimes it was good. Sometimes I'd watch it back and say, wow, that was really good. But a lot of times I'd watch and say, oh my God, that was horrible. I don't like listening to my own commentary. I really don't. Never did. Like I said, a couple times it was really good, but most of the time I didn't like it, and I wasn't comfortable doing it. Especially when you're out there with Vince and Jim Ross or Jerry Lawler, there's no comparison. There's no way in hell you can do as good keep up with them. So once in a while, it's a guest commentary thing is fine, but it wasn't a strong point, so I really didn't want to do it full time.
You got another question from the board, Incher?
Let's see, Rick Rude, RRM. He wants to know, did you learn a lot from Jim Cornette during your time in Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
Well, yeah, I mean, we already touched on that. He was, the one basically who gave me my, my first shot and taught me how to do interviews, and I learned everything from him. He would spend so many hours after a show, or so much time doing promos, or he'd take us out to eat, on a Wednesday night if we didn't have a show, and just sit there and kind of mentor me and everything. And then the reason he did that is because he saw, there was potential in me, and I was only 18 at the time, but he saw potential and he saw that it was working, and I was there I wanted to learn, and most girls in this business really don't give a crap and they don't want to learn, but I was into it, so. He played a huge part in, my start. He really did.
You touched earlier about ribbing people. Do you have any good rib story you'd like to say? You'd like to tell us?
Oh, God.
Okay, in trouble.
There's millions of them. I want to write a book one day, and there's going to be chapters upon chapters upon chapters about ribs. Probably, okay, here's a really good rib on me. Mr. Fuji. I was only in WWF for like maybe a year. I was still pretty new and still wanted to be, a wonderful, sweet little girl to everybody. And Mr. Fuji, of course, I gave him all the respect in the world anyway. I always respect old-timers. I would never disrespect one. And he came up to me one day. He's like, can you do me a huge favor? I said, absolutely. He's like, I need you to braid Yoko's hair before the match because I just don't have time and my fingers are all arthritic. And, because he did it every night. He would braid his hair. And I was like, absolutely, Mr. Fuji, anything for you, not a problem. You don't have to ask me twice. Well, I go to Yoko, and he's sitting there in the chair, and I take the brush, and I'm brushing his hair, and I start braiding his hair, and I smell something. But I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if there's a toilet overflowing somewhere. I have no idea, but this is real rancid, horrible smell. So I braid his hair. He goes off, into his match, and the two seamstresses from the company are sitting right next to me, and they're laughing at me. I'm like, what's the matter? This girl, Julie and Terry, they're sisters. They're like, and they keep laughing. They said, you don't even realize what just happened. I said, what? They go, smell your hands. I smelt my hands, and they stunk so bad. Because Yoko was so fat, he couldn't wash his hair. He couldn't hold his arms above his head to wash his hair. Mm-hmm. So his hair stunk like a sewer because it was never washed. Well, my hands smelled so bad for like a week, I could not get the stench off of my skin. And every single time Mr. Fuji walked by me, he would just look at me and laugh because he got me so good. I was like, Fuji, you got me. I didn't even see it coming, and you got me. He'd walk by and laugh. He'd be like, oh, I grab you. I got you. I was like, oh, my God. It was great. It was hysterical. God, but, as far as, ribs that I've done, I never did anything hurtful to anybody or anything that would cause anybody, any money or harm or pain. I just, I would rib, people I was friends with. That's about it. But a lot of funny stuff, a lot of stuff to do with Owen, a lot of stuff to do with Davey Boy. It was just hysterical.
I think the caller got through now. You here, LTNA fan?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You got a question for Tammy? We got LTNA fan here from Portugal?
Yeah.
What's that?
We got a caller here from Portugal.
Very cool.
Sure.
Hello?
Hello.
How are you?
Fine. What about you?
Good.
Okay. I got two quick questions. First of all, I'm a fan of Japanese women's wrestling, and I wanted to know what do you think of in terms of comparison Japanese women's wrestling with women's wrestling in the U.S.? How you categorize both styles of wrestling?
Oh my God! Well, see, I love Japanese wrestling. I was always a huge fan of Japanese wrestling, even the women, because the women out there they're nuts. They have no regard for their body. I mean, they do as much, if not more, than the men. They take risks. They're insane. So, I've always been a fan of Japanese wrestling in general. Back in the 90s, and even before that, women's wrestling here was nowhere near Japanese women's wrestling. I mean, you couldn't even label them in the same category, because, in the days of, Misty Blue Sims and Candy Divine and all that, it was horrible. It was just hair pulling and the stupid butt bumps and all kinds of ridiculous stuff, But, over the past few years, of course, it has gotten a lot more intense. These girls are putting their, the necks on the line between, Lita started that with all her, her moonsaults and everything, but now you've got girls like Victoria and Trish Stratus, I think, came such a long way. She really did. She's absolutely incredible. You have these girls who basically are willing to go out there and do things that these guys are doing and do more than some of the guys are doing. Like I said, back, in the old days, even the mid-'90s, I thought women in the ring were useless because, as far as wrestling goes, I thought they had no place as a wrestler. I hated women's matches, but now, you've got girls having matches that could possibly main event on a show. And I'm not talking about everybody. Like, these girls from Diva Sytch, you're not going to put them in a match and they're not going to wrestle good because they're not wrestlers and they don't want to be. But, the girls who really have trained and are willing to go out there and, and do this and that are athletes enough to do, the kind of matches they're having now, more power to them. Now it does have a place, but, it's the first time in, forever that, a women's matches finally have a place. But I do hate all these stupid six-man tags with all these women like Tori and, Candice Michelle and whoever else. Because it's all it is, basically a bikini contest and they happen to be, catfighting with each other. I think that's kind of useless, but... put Trish and Victoria in the ring, and I'll watch it any day.
Do you think that's a mistake because they pretty much make all the women wrestle?
Right. It's absolutely a mistake. It's nothing special. Just like I said before, every segment on the show has a girl involved, whether she's a manager or a valet or a wrestler or she's interviewing someone. There's too much. There's way too much. It's nothing special. I honestly, you can't show me the whole. If you showed me the whole roster of girls and all their pictures, I can't name half of them because they all look the same to me, and I guarantee you there's a lot of people who look and say, well, it's just a bunch of girls with big boobs and, nobody knows who they are, nobody knows their names, but, it's too commonplace, and having them all have matches is ridiculous. I really think so.
What was your second question there?
My second question is more of a, it's a question that many people talk about. It's what Shawn Michaels. You talk a lot about him, do you think that the public, the fans, the wrestling fans, have an idea of Shawn Michaels that is not what he is in reality, in terms of they see him as this nice guy and all that? Do you think it's totally different from what he is in reality?
Wait, I'm sorry, I totally didn't understand what you meant. You want to know if what? If fans
if the fans' perception of Shawn Michaels as a person is what Shawn Michaels really is.
See, there's a couple sides to Shawn. I don't know what he's like now, because like I said, I haven't talked to him in years. Now he's,
One again.
Hello?
Hello? Mm-hmm.
Wait, my phone's ringing. Hang on.
All right.
Oh, God. It's my boyfriend calling. That's okay. He'll probably figure I'm still doing the interview.
All right. We'll try to wrap it up here. We don't want him to come beat us up.
What's that?
We don't want him to come beat us up. We'll try to wrap it up.
I'll call him from my cell phone in a second. Can you go to break or something so I can call him real quick?
We can go break.
I want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, certainly.
Let's go to break.
Hey, everybody. This is Rockin' Robin, former WWF Women's World Champion, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, we're back. And we're still joined by Sunny Tammy Sytch. Did you want to answer LTNA's fans' question, or?
What was the question again?
It was about Shawn Michaels. I think you pretty much...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
There's one about Shawn Michaels. He wanted to know about fans' perception.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I really don't know what he's like, now, because he's, a different person now. Everybody does change over time, and, I don't know. Back then, he had two different personalities. He was an asshole to everybody in the locker room, but he was great to his friends, and he was great to me. Totally different person, to us than he was to everybody else. But, everybody is, like that in a little bit. Of course you're going to be great to your friends and not to, people that aren't your friends. But, a lot of times, yeah, he does have a good heart, and people do have a misperception about him. They probably think he is an asshole, but he's really not, He was a really good person to me and to his friends. He has a very good heart.
Thanks for calling in, LTNA fan.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah. You think you have to have a little bit of an ego to make it in wrestling?
Oh, absolutely. We all do. We all have egos. I mean, you have to have an ego, or you're not going to make it. Nice guys don't make it. And that was one of the reasons Chris didn't make it there, because he was too nice of a guy.
Mm-hmm. Earlier, just when you were talking about the Divas not knowing who Kamala was, I want to know, have you heard Kamala's song, Rockin' Chair?
No.
Oh. You have to pick up yeah, he has a CD.
He does.
You have to pick up the Kamala CD.
Oh, my God.
It's the greatest CD ever cut.
Yeah. Want to give us a little bit of Kamala's Rockin' Chair?
You want me to sing?
Yeah.
Alright, it goes a little something like, let's make love in a rocking chair. Oh, ho, ho, make love. Oh, ho, ho, make love.
Are you kidding?
And so on. No, I'm not kidding.
Oh, my God.
It is the greatest CD ever cut.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We come all on here. You have to definitely pick that up. Let everybody know that next Saturday, Legends of the Ring 4, it's Carteret, New Jersey, 8:30 a.m., 3 count.
It's right off the extra 12 on the Turnpike at the Radisson Inn. It's going to be really good. You've got to come by, come meet me, come say hello. If I've known you forever, like that one caller we had, come say hi if I haven't seen you in a while. I love seeing people that, I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Mention that you heard her here on In Your Head.
Yeah.
Well, you won't get anything extra. Just mention. I also mentioned that Tammy Sytch has broken Mick Foley's record for most call-ins.
Have I really?
Yes.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know who you were talking to.
Oh, well, I appreciate Incher, too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is Jim Cornette. You're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com, and you made the right choice.